Hello everybody, welcome to this video. Today we're going to be looking at glitching Portland's missions in Grand Theft Auto 3. Now if you're familiar with GTA 3 or any of the 3D era GTA games, then you might be familiar with mission duping. It's usually a term that's used in the context of speedrunning. Effectively, it's a way of duplicating a mission to essentially get through the game faster. By doing this, speedrunners can cause all kinds of glitches to occur that, as I say, effectively means they can complete the game quicker. But I thought, what if you weren't interested in speed? What if you weren't trying to do this to be fast? What if you just wanted to see what crazy effects you could make happen by duplicating missions in GTA 3? And that's what this video is all about. So strap in, we're about to see some crazy stuff that you might never have seen before. Okay, let's start off with an example of how this is done on the PS2 version of the game. So I've got a taxi here, and what I'm going to do is hold R3 down, which is the button that you need to press to start the taxi side mission. So I'm going to hold it down but not let go, then I'm going to exit the vehicle, and it's quite hard to control Claude when you're using the reverse camera. And then I'm going to pick up the rampage icon, and then I'm going to get back into the taxi, and then when I'm in there, I'm going to finally release R3 to start the taxi side mission. And then just as soon as I've started it, I'm going to cancel it. Now the next thing we want to do is wait for the rampage timer to get fairly low, say about 10 seconds left on the clock or something like that. And at that point, I'm going to head into a mission marker. And as you can see, during the cutscene, the rampage timer runs out, and of course I failed the rampage. Now what you can see is because we failed the rampage during the cutscene, we can actually go straight back into the blue marker and pick up another version of the same mission. So in this case, of course, we can see that the mission failed, which is pretty weird. So why is that? Well, I can't be certain, but I think what probably happened was that you see the stallion here that you have to take to pay and spray and get resprayed and then take it to Luigi's lockup. When we duplicated the mission, a second stallion would have spawned on top of the first one, and it more than likely tipped over and then exploded both stallions, and that meant we failed the mission. But anyway, we don't need to worry about that. All we need to worry about is the fact that that's how it works in a nutshell. So let's get on and look at some more interesting missions. Okay, here we are looking at Drive Misty For Me. So I've just picked Misty up from her apartment, and I've only started one iteration of the mission so far. So now that I've got Misty, I'm going to go back to Luigi's club and I'm going to start a second version of the same mission once again. So yeah, I'm just going to go into the blue marker, and of course the cutscene begins, and pretty much as soon as the cutscene begins, we can skip it this time. Okay, Misty's still with us, so that's good. So we just have to wait for Misty to get back into the vehicle with us. If you try this yourselves, probably important to note that once you've done all the setup, you don't have to stay in the taxi. I'm just using it here just because it's the car that I had. Anyway, okay, so we're back at Misty's apartment once again. And what we're going to do is we're going to sound the horn for a second time to make Misty come out the apartment block, and as you can see, this spawns a second Misty. So we now have two Mistys instead of one. She's so slow, I don't know why she just walks everywhere. Anyway, finally she's in the car. So yeah, all that remains now really is to carry on with the mission and head over to Joey's garage, which is our destination. So here we are. We are at Joey's garage now, and I hope you're ready because I'm going to have to describe what happens very quickly because it all happens all together. Right, here we go. So the cutscene starts, and then a second version of that cutscene starts, and then every car that spawned during the cutscene has duplicated. Then Claude and Misty are glitching through the stallion. There are two Joeys, there are two Mistys, there are two Claudes. One of the vehicles that spawned on top of the other one flipped over and blew up, and there's an explosion going on. There's one of the Joeys is frozen in the background there. Joey is glitching through that chest of drawers. Everything's just going on. It's completely mental. And then the game crashes. So what else can you do in this mission? Well, a fact that you may or may not know about this mission is that Misty is super strong. She can pretty much beat up anyone in Liberty City. So I thought, hey, you know, what would it be like if we had two Misties to do this? What would happen if we had an army of Misties to protect us from these dangerous peds in Liberty City? So yeah, as you can see, the Misties are going to work. Oh, that guy just went absolutely flying. Not only is she super strong, but she can kick and punch people so far away. It's amazing. And the last thing to note about this mission is that if you skip the cutscene really quickly, you can in fact avoid the game crashing, which is good. Of course, if you did that, you wouldn't see all the hilarious effects that happen, but yeah, at least if you do this, one of the Misties will disappear like you would expect. But actually, the other Misty, she just walks off like a normal pedestrian. I mean, it just feels so surreal to see an NPC that usually only appears in a mission just walking around like a normal ped. But of course, that's what you can see here, and it won't be the last time we see something like that in the video. Okay, onto the Fuzz Ball next. Now, I should just mention that I'm not going to show every single Portland mission. I'm just going to feature the ones that had the most interesting results. So yeah, the Fuzz Ball, as you can see, there are two girls that have spawned one on top of the other in each spot where you would usually have to pick up one of the girls. But take note of this, only one of the two girls in each spot that's duplicated gets into your car, or at least it looks like that. It looks like the other one just stays like at the pickup point. So now we've got three girls in the car, we've got a full car with us driving as well. Let's go and drop them off. As you can see on the right here, the police car has of course duplicated. There's not one on the left, so I assume those just blew up. So let's go into the blue marker. Okay, the girls get out and they just disappear. They just disappear for some reason. But look at the girls counter on the screen. The counter reads 6 when we only dropped off 3 girls. So it's almost like, even though we only saw one girl get in the car, it was like the game thinks that both of them did somehow? I don't know. But anyway, let's carry on. So let's pick up the rest of the girls, or at least as many as we can carry in the car. So that's 2 more we've got, and then we're going to pick up a 3rd as well. One thing that's worth mentioning is that when you pick up a girl, usually the green dot on the map disappears, but when you do this glitch, they don't disappear, so it's kind of hard to remember which ones you've picked up and which ones you haven't. So yeah, I've just dropped some more off. Again, they just disappeared. They're not meant to do that. They're meant to walk into the old school hall. And the girls counter now reads 12. Now, I believe, if I remember right, there are only usually 8 girls to pick up in this mission. So the counter has gone higher than it normally would. So let's go and pick up what I believe are the last 2 girls that I need to collect. So here's the last one from Harwood. And then here we are back at the old school hall, and we're dropping off what I think, if I remember right, what I think are the last 2 girls. So we now have 16 girls in total. The ending cutscene of the mission has not played, and the time is about to count down. And as you can see, we get a reward of $8,000. Now, bear that in mind, because I'm going to show you now what should happen during this mission. So here's the ending cutscene. When you drop off the last lot of girls, you should get this cutscene where the girls walk into the old school hall, and then obviously the cutscene will end, and check it out, we get $4,000 plus a $2,000 bonus. Now, before, of course, we got $8,000 in the duplicated version of the mission. So essentially, it's doubled the 4,000 because we didn't just deliver 8 girls, we delivered 16 girls. But unfortunately, we don't get the $2,000 bonus for some reason. Okay, moving on to our next mission. This is Mike Lip's Last Lunch. Now, as you can see, we have 2 Idahos, and this one I'm driving here, when you get into it, the blue arrow isn't removed when you're driving it. Usually it is. As you can see, when I get into this Idaho, you can see that the blue arrow has been removed, and that's how it should be. Okay, so I now have both Idahos back here. What I'm going to do is arm the bomb, like usual, and then I'm just going to run out of Marco's Bistro. Now, as you can see, 2 mic clips have now spawned at the top of the stairs there. One of them starts walking down the stairs, the other one's stuck in place. Then the one that was walking down the stairs teleports back up to the start of the steps and then just gets stuck in place. So we now have 2 mic clips just stuck, and unfortunately it did cause a soft freeze. So let's have a look now at Farewell Chunky Lee Chong. This is another good one. So here we go, I'm about to enter the precinct near the fish market. As you can see, there's Chunky Lee Chong with a second Chunky Lee Chong kind of protruding out of his chest for some reason. Let's just clear out these Triad guys so we can have a look at what we're dealing with. Okay, let's have a look in the Punk Noodle stand. So, as expected, there are 2 Chunky Lee Chongs, but the weird thing as well, I mean, if that wasn't weird enough, the weird thing is that when you get close to Chunky, he usually runs away. Now, that hasn't happened when I've duplicated the mission. For whatever reason, Chunky Lee Chong is just standing there. Or at least both of the Chunky Lee Chongs. So, yeah, at this point I thought, okay, well, what would happen if I just kind of shot them with it? So, and then I did shoot them with a shotgun, but then I thought, well, actually, maybe I shouldn't shoot both of them. Maybe I should just get rid of one of them and see what happens. But then, yeah, when I did blast them with the shotgun, one of them did finally run off. So I got rid of that one because I wanted to see what would happen to the other one. And as you can see, like what happened with Misty in Drive Misty For Me, Chunky Lee Chong has not despawned. So we're now in that similar scenario where we have an NPC that's usually only seen in a mission. You can see him outside the mission. And he's behaving like, well, like a normal ped, really. Except he is kind of jogging about, he's not walking. But yeah, again, it's so weird to see. You know, I've been playing this game for, God, like 20, 25, 26 years now. And there's still new things which I've never seen before. Alright, what are we on now? This is Cipriani's Chauffeur. Okay, so we're going to pull up to Mr. Wong's, and you might be able to see through the windows of the laundrette there. Instead of there being 2 triads, there are in fact 4. There are 2 triads that have spawned on top of the 2 that are meant to be there. So Tony walks in, as he should, and then if you keep a close eye, you'll see the fact that Tony runs out, but then he gets teleported. He gets teleported back into the laundrette, and he's just stuck. He's stuck running into the door for like God knows how long. But again, don't take your eye off it, because at some point soon he teleports back to the Mafia Sentinel, and then the car, the car, for some reason teleports inside Mr. Wong's laundrette, and then the game does a soft freeze. Alright, what's the next mission? This is the Getaway. Okay, what we're going to do here is just go into the blue marker and sound the horn. So yeah, everything is normal so far. I've only started 1 iteration of this mission. So here come the 3 bank robbers, they get into the car. Everything is as it should be so far. So let's start a second version of the Getaway. So let's start a second version of the Getaway and see what happens now. So we come out of the cutscene and the 3 bank robbers are still there, which is handy. And of course they still get into your car with you. So yeah, everything I guess is pretty normal so far, but let's skip ahead. Okay, so let's skip ahead and see what happens when we try and pick up the next 3 bank robbers. So as you can see, perhaps because the car is already full, they just refuse to come out of the garage. So they're just stuck in there. And I thought the game was just going to soft lock at this point. But after a little while, after a little bit of waiting, the game just kind of carries on, as if the robbers had come out of the garage and got into the car. So yeah, that was very strange. So yeah, it just said get to the bank on the main drag, as it should do. But then I pull into the blue marker and then it says you need all 3 to rob the bank. So clearly, because the robbers that I've got with me here were the first lot of robbers, you know, clearly the game is thinking that the second lot of robbers, the ones that are still in the garage, are the ones that I need to have for the mission. Okay, now we're going to look at Salvatore's called a meeting. So I'm at the bit where I need to pick up Joey from his garage. So, of course, 2 stretches have spawned, one on top of the other, and there are 2 Joeys as well. So Joey gets into what seems like the bottom limo, but then he actually spawns inside the top limo. Then Joey, the second Joey, goes to get in and kind of teleports from the back of the car to the front of the car, which is unnecessary, I think. And then obviously we go out of the garage. I guess it's all fine right now. And just to give you a closer look, there you can see the 2 Joeys. You can see one in the front and one in the back. So yeah, definitely 2 of them in the stretch. So let's go to our next location and pick up Luigi. And then Luigi is going to be coming out. There we go. So there's one of the Luigis, of course. Don't forget there will be 2. Luigi gets in the limo. And then the limo, again, like we saw with the laundrette, the limo teleports into the doorway, or sorry, the entranceway of Luigi's club. You can see the second version of Luigi there. But, I mean, it's not, to be fair, it's not soft locked. Like, I can get out of the limo, but I couldn't move it. Like, honestly, I was trying, it just would not move whatsoever. Maybe I should have tried harder. Maybe I should have got a car to, like, try and smash it out. But yeah, this is kind of where I ended that attempt. The mission Chaperone for Salvatore was another interesting one, actually. So here we go, we're in the cutscene. We're waiting for the rampage timer to elapse once again. And of course, once that happens, I can then skip the cutscene. As expected, the stretch comes out of the garage. So at that point, I get out and I'm going to go back into the blue marker to start a second version of Chaperone. But when the cutscene started, I then got the mission failed text on the screen. So I was quite confused about this. This isn't something that I had seen before with any other mission. And then again, the stretch just comes out of the garage like nothing's even happened. The other one has disappeared because of course we got the mission failed text, right? So that will have despawned. And I think, yeah, the weird thing was that if you wanted to, you could pretty much just do this on a loop for as long as you wanted to. I mean, of course, why would you? There's no point to it. But yeah, essentially every time I started a new version of the mission, it would say mission failed. And yeah, this one was just quite a unique one. Okay, now we're going to have a look at cutting the grass. So of course, when we go to pick up Curly Bob from Luigi's club, there are of course 2 taxis that have spawned instead of 1. But I've brought my own taxi to the party as well. So we're just waiting for Curly Bob to come out of Luigi's club, as he always does in this mission, of course. Here he comes now. Or at least here comes one Curly Bob, and there's the second one. So Curly Bob, he is... Oh, okay, no, I thought he was going to get into my taxi. He's not. The first one just stands there. And then the second one gets into my taxi, but wait. Then it says mission failed, Curly Bob is dead. He's not dead. He's absolutely not dead. What are you talking about, game? And yeah, like we've seen with other missions, we then have like the first Curly Bob that spawned, who just walks around. He just walks around like a normal pedestrian. Well, I say a normal pedestrian, he does have a massive blue arrow over his head. But yeah, again, another situation where we have a mission-specific NPC who's just walking around Liberty City now like a normal ped. It's really surreal to see. But sorry, Curly, we can't wait for you all day. We've got things to do. Alright, now we're going to have a look at Triads and Tribulations for Tony Cipriani. Now, of course, one thing you'll notice here is that I have a coach. And the reason for that is that usually when you do this mission, you get 2 mafia bodyguards. And you could see them coming out the coach there. But of course, when we duplicate this mission, we're not just going to have 2 mafia bodyguards. We're going to have 4 in total. So I got a coach because it's one of the only vehicles that's big enough to have 4 passengers. But then when I tried to get in it, this happened. I mean, I'm not saying this is necessarily to do with duplicating missions. It was just such a weird occurrence that I had to include it in the video. And then of course, like the coach just flips over and yeah, God knows what. Anyway, we carry on with the mission. So yeah, as you can see, I have got 4 Mafia guys, but one thing I found was that 2 of them, I guess the original 2 that spawned first, just kind of kept getting distracted. They kept running off. So as you can see, they do follow you, but then, as I say, sometimes it's just like they see something over there and they go and chase after that. So I have managed to hold their attention this time by parking the coach in a better spot. So we now have 4 Mafia bodyguards in this mission when we should only have 2. So I've gone to this location first, which is the Triad Fish Factory, and here come the Mafia guys coming out of the bus and falling over one another. Now, if you've ever done the mission, the Fuzz Ball with a coach, a very similar thing happens when you drop off the girls at the old school hall. Now, as you can see, I am throwing the grenades into the Triad Fish Factory compound, and for some reason, the Mafia guys I've got with me were like fighting among each other. I don't know why. Like, guys, why are you infighting? We're trying to fight the Triads here. So that was really strange. Yeah, so I went to the final location. I've missed one out here just because it was pretty uneventful. Now, this is the one where, unfortunately, you do really have to get out of the vehicle. So, yeah, I'm going to see how many Mafia guys I can keep alive even after the mission. So, yeah, so I'm going to get rid of these last Triad guys. And it looks, unfortunately, like I've only got one of the Mafia guys left. But that's okay, because the interesting thing here is that the mission has finished, but he's still following me around. Usually when the mission finishes, the Mafia guys will just disperse. If they've made it through the mission, of course. They will stop following you. So essentially I was like, do I have like a permanent Mafia bodyguard that I could just take around the city here? And in a sense, yes. I think if you just wanted to go around the city doing whatever, then he would stay with you. But unfortunately, when I tried to start another mission, the game crashed. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like you could take that Mafia guard into another mission, which is a shame. Okay, we're going to have a look at Bomb the Base now. So I've obviously bombed the base Act 2. Now you will have already seen that I had 1 8-ball there, but of course I'm going to go into the blue mission marker and I'm going to spawn a second 8-ball. An interesting thing to note was that I didn't have to pay twice. Essentially, I paid the money for 8-ball to make the bomb when I first started the mission, and then when I did the second iteration of the mission, it didn't charge me again, which is pretty cool. So here we are, down at the docks now. We're pulling into the blue mission marker. As you can see, all the cartel and the cartel cruisers have duplicated. You can see 2 guys almost like occupying exactly the same spot there. And of course you can see as well, there are twice as many cartel gang members on the ship. So it's like trying to do the mission on hard mode almost. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. So yeah, once again, let's skip ahead a little bit. Here I am just walking up the stairs to the recommended vantage point. And one of the 8-balls, the other 8-ball is in position where he should be. The other 8-ball is still just following me around. But that's fine. I guess we don't need 2 8-balls to set 1 bomb, do we? So, okay, here we go. I'm just going to use the rocket launch to take all these out, just because it's quicker. So here we go. As I say, we've got twice as many cartel gang members as usual to try and take out on the ship. There are so many. And they don't all seem to be like spawning on top of one another. They seem to all just be walking around. So yeah, you really do have to aim at all of them. And it can be quite challenging to take them all out. But then yeah, once I think I've got them all, I'm going to switch to the sniper rifle, just so I can see how 8-ball is moving through the ship. And here he goes. So it looks like he's made it. He's going to set the bomb. And then the cutscene starts, but we then get the mission fail text. It says 8-ball's been iced. However, the cutscene is still going on, but we've not got the cinematic cameras. And here we go, watch, here's 8 Ball, apparently he's dead. 8 Ball's running down the ramp. We're effectively seeing the cutscene from the standpoint of normal gameplay. We're not seeing the cutscene from the cinematic cameras, which again is just so surreal, not something I ever thought I would see in this game. But sadly, the game did crash once again. Alright, now we're on the final mission in Portland, which is Last Requests. Of course, we get 2 cheaters spawned, one on top of the other. That's kind of old news to us now, right? We've seen multiple cars spawn in missions, quite a lot so far. So it's pretty common. So yeah, from there, from seeing the cheaters, it's just a short drive down to where you need to go and meet Asuka and Maria. So we're driving up now, gonna enter the blue marker, and then, are you ready for some more cutscene chaos? The cutscene starts once and then it starts again. We have 2 reefers glitching into one another. We have 2 Marias and we have 2 Asukas as well. Now, one cutscene did start playing before the other cutscene. So one set of Maria and Asuka are like slightly further ahead than the other set. And as you can see, the boats are just completely glitching up in the background. They're practically stuck to one another. So yeah, once the cutscene has finished, unfortunately, it did crash. However, this is one of those occurrences where if we enter the cutscene and then we skip it as fast as possible, we can avoid the crash. But it doesn't really help much because we've got one boat stuck to another boat. We've got 2 Marias and 2 Asukas on board. I was kind of excited to see what might happen if we could get to the final cutscene when we arrive in Staunton Island. But unfortunately, I just couldn't get there. I did try this several times, and every time I tried it, this happened. The boats were just glued together, and Maria and Asuka were falling off the boat into the sea. Keep your eye on Maria in the sea there. She's like drowned, but her model hasn't disappeared. It's really weird. And one of the Asukas was stuck on board as well. So yeah, that's it for the Portland missions. As I say, we're not covering every single Portland mission because with all the other ones, there wasn't just really anything to note, really. It was just pretty standard stuff, not too interesting. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do the same thing for the Staunton Island and Shoreside Vale missions too. So yeah, I guess all that's left to say at this point is thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.